is Robin Martin, and it's a piece of hers that I've loved for a long time. It's a PPFF piece here as well, called Homework. So I'll read that to you. If I can do it justice. I've heard her read it a couple times here, so let's see. After half a lifetime together, he left. Called me on his work cell from another state. I had strep throat, was making dinner and helping RJ with his math homework. At first, I just hung up and removed his piece of fish from the cold broiler pan, rewrapped it and placed it in the fridge. It seemed hot in the fridge, hot and moldy, and some French cheese had white mold on it. I shut the door. I turned back around and RJ was gone, but his homework remained unfinished. Instead of calling him to nag, I put our fish under the broiler and turned on the water under the vegetables. I poured a vodka. I sat. When the space alien in his moon suit walked in, he asked to mange la montre, eat the clock. Yes, let's eat the clock. Sounds delicious. He sat down on the floor next to me, and the dog came over to rest her chin on my thigh. Together, the three of us ate the clock. Too much time, he had said. You're taking too much time. We finished eating the clock. The alien said, what does that beep mean on your planet? I said, it's time to eat fish and vegetables. Push aside your homework and remove your moon suit. Milk or water? Water, please. RJ sat down at the table. Butter on my veggies, please. Lots. I did not eat. My throat hurt bad. RJ, how's your throat? Good. Bath time, teeth, books, lullaby. What about money? I need a job that paid money. I was once a woman with skills. Then he arrived home. After 72 hours. Said he'd never left, just to Seattle for a meeting. How was your week, he asked. I don't know. There was a problem with time and health, I think. And some homework was left incomplete. This piece, again in conversation with that, and actually when I wrote this piece, I originally put down the title Homework. And I thought, oh, wait a second, I know that title, it's from another piece. So I changed it to School Day. It was partly inspired also by my son, watching him through the window at kindergarten as he was in class. And then it's going to be coming out in the New Orleans Review, and they changed the title to Thread, so that's now the title. Thread. 1. He watches his mother pack his lunch. The last bird of morning flying from his eyes. Still, he's barely able to see over the white tile counter. She places the peach half in the red Tupperware, the PBJ in the blue, and the carrots in the green, then fits them all conveniently in the Spider-Man lunchbox. He doesn't want to go to school, though if his mother asks him why, he won't have an answer. When his mother's finished, he takes the lunchbox and puts it in his backpack. Before they head out, he checks the outside pocket to make sure he has pencils. He pricks his finger on one. 2. He looks out the open car window at the older kids biking to school. They disappear down the path, through the palms and firs, cedars and pines. His mother stops at a light and he waits for the children to reappear. He unlatches his seatbelt and rolls down the window. Your belt, his mother says. And so he sits, refastens his seatbelt, and closes his eyes. When the car begins moving again, he pulls on a loose thread from his shirt, a dark green thread. He keeps pulling, but the thread doesn't break. He stretches it to the top of the car, then watches as it creeps vine-like across the roof, searching for the open window. 3. He tries to count the long string of numbers his teacher writes on the chalkboard, but can't because of the stones in his mouth. One by one he pulls them out, piling them into a pyramid before him. He fingers the holes left behind in his gums, digs little caverns inside, then climbs in. The largest is barely big enough to contain him. He waits there, pulling the earth about him like a blanket. A blue jay returns, trying to get back into his left eye. The teacher's voice buzzes in the distance until hairs grow black on the jay. 6 legs sprout, eyes bulge, wings fade to veined translucence. It falls to the floor. 4. At recess, he uses his pencil to fly over the dead fly he's found. He uses his pencil to flip over the dead fly he's found in the dirt at the edge of the blacktop. Like a worm, he wriggles into the shiny blue and green back, searching the cool murk until eyes dim and mouth no longer exists. He digs a hole in the dirt with the pencil and pushes the fly inside. The bell rings, and as he stands to go, something tickles his arm. He brushes at it, thinking the silky strand is the loose thread from his shirt. He pulls at it, spiraling a web from the back wall of the library and the tetherball pole, making it bigger and bigger until he worries it might ensnare one of the other children running back to class, or perhaps the teacher. 5. He builds a nest in his hand using hair for branches, while the teacher reads to them. He tunneled out his ears already, so the teacher's voice drifts away on a cloud. He holds the nest before him, breathes into it as if he could bring the birds back. After a moment, he grows frustrated and smashes the nest into a dark ball, which falls through his palm, then through the floor. He inches closer to the edge. 6. At lunch, he digs through his backpack, feeling for the spilled contents of his lunchbox. He arranges the food in the order in which he will eat. Red first, followed by blue, then green. The pit of the halved peach, a floating world. He crawls over the sticky sweetness and sets his ear to the pit. Tap, tap, tap. A faint pecking from inside. He tries to bite it, but remembers he has no teeth, so he takes up a stone from the edge of the grass and hammers the pit open on the picnic table. It's empty. He contents himself with the peach half, reaching for it. A fly lands ahead of his hand, sucking at the fleshy pulp. 7. After school, he sits at the kitchen counter doing homework. His mother is sipping a cup of tea while she reads the paper. A forest rises between them, leaves breathing feathers, shielding him. His paper is blank, his pencil limp in his hand as he stares through the thick wood. Flies buzz about, but his attention is fixed on the dark circle hovering at the forest's edge. He walks toward it, sweeping away at the webs and vines that entangle him. When he arrives on the other side, he pulls the thread from his shirt and keeps pulling until he is completely unraveled, until only his eyes are left, 2 orbs hovering before the shadowy world, trying to peer inside the only place he calls home.